Like to introduce to everyone Becky McComb, who is our Heath Alexander tonight. What's your official job title?
Well, as soon as Linda officially retires, I'll be assistant auditor.
Assistant
and
auditor.
Now I am assistant to the auditor and accounts payable.
Okay. And I'm Tim Kelly, president of Heath Council, and if we just go around the room real quick here.
Hi, I'm Deb Cole. Nice to meet you guys. We were good things about you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Tomorrow?
John Groff.
John, I've heard nice things about you.
I must be hearing it from some different person.
Yeah. There are two of us. Yeah.
Okay. Jeff Crable, finance chair.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Steve.
just got to know Becky 2 or 3 times we were together on those, what you call them, traffic, sobriety checkpoints.
Yeah.
She worked those.
Yes, I did.
She impressed me then. Well, John, if you're ready, I'll just let you take it over and go through it.
Okay, item number 1. Citizens in Heath who live in a floodplain can purchase flood insurance. Flood insurance is actually offered through the federal government, through FEMA. In order for FEMA to offer the flood insurance to people within the city of Heath, the city has to meet 2 criteria. One is we have to have a floodplain ordinance, which we have and we administer. The other is we have to be in agreement with the county's overall floodplain ordinance and disaster mitigation plan. To show that we are in agreement with the county's disaster mitigation plan, we need to pass an ordinance that basically says we, the city of Heath, agree with the county's disaster mitigation plan. And what the disaster mitigation plan does is it tells you how to prepare and deal with various disasters, not just flooding, but hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, earthquakes, things like that. It's a pre-planned item, and it actually was done about 10 years ago. And every 4 or 5 years it's readopted. So the county is readopting its hazard mitigation plan this year, and as part of the readoption process, we are required to adopt the plan ourselves here. I have a legislative request to do that, and the proposed ordinance that the county prosecutor's office prepared is attached to it. There's really no obligation on our part other than to administer our floodplain program the way we already did. Any questions? If not, item number 2. Item number 2 involves Hopewell Drive paving. We are receiving federal dollars to pave Hopewell Drive. The amount we're receiving is about $323,000. The plans, the final plans for the paving have been submitted to ODOT with an estimate of $484,650. Which is typical because we can't always exactly predict what the cost of paving is. And when we request this funding, we usually do it 2 or 3 years in advance. Now the good news here is that the difference, which is about $121,000, we will go after an Ohio Public Works grant to see if we can get that. So if we're lucky, the city won't be paying anything to have the paving done. And I'm just giving you an update on that project. The final plans have been submitted to ODOT. Now when the paving is going to be done is dependent upon when ODOT paves State Route 13 going through Heath. What we've asked ODOT to do is include the paving of Hopewell Drive, which intersects 13, with their project. What that means is we get better prices with asphalt, so the cost of the paving as a whole will go down some. We're not exactly sure when ODOT is going to schedule that project. It'll probably be in the next 2 years or so. So just to give you a heads up on that, that's what the status is.
Hey, John, are you talking about paving from 13 to 79?
Yes, from 13 to 79. Paving it and striping it.
13 to
79. All right.
Oh, in on Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In between.
John, is there any talk about the intersection at 13 and
No.
Hopewell?
No, we actually, about a year ago, looked at that, but the cost was astronomically high. to do it to ODOT standards, because we'll be using their money, we'd have to buy right of way and a lot of additional planning and design work done, and the cost just went through the ceiling. So we just roll it out at this time.
Doug, when the pavers are out, on 13, just get out there and instruct them to feather it out a little further that way.
I think I won't.
I mean, a lot
When
further.
they make that
way.
curve right
Make sure you're
there.
up there.
We'll get you yellow
You'll
vest.
know, I mean, you got a nice spot. You can see them before anybody.
Oh, I know.
We'll get you a yellow
You
vest
know,
with
I don't think,
ODOT on it.
you know, they talk about an astronomical amount of money to do that right there.
No, it's
I kinda differ. I just don't think that it would take that amount of money that they're talking.
there's a realistic and common sense way to approach it. There's the
There's
ODOT
not.
federal highway
There's-
method. And because we're using ODOT and federal dollars as part of the project, we have to do it their way, period. That's just their way or the highway, pardon the pun, with ODOT.
Nice big apron out there. Big.
Any other questions on that? Item number 3 is an update. As you've been made aware, we've had a problem with detention pond. I'm sorry, wrong one. Let's see. On the median on 79, our banner posts have been damaged. The reason they were damaged is they really were not properly constructed. There were weak spots in them. We've been dealing with ODOT and the manufacturer. The manufacturer has supplied the replacement parts to repair the defective posts. And the contractor who installed them, Shelley and Sands, will be installing them probably, I would say, within the next 30 days. This is all at no cost to the city. One of the problems we're having with them is the arms to the posts are supposed to have a cable in them that if the arms break off, prevents the arm from falling down into the road and hitting anyone in a vehicle. That was not the case in many of the posts. They lack those cables. So we have a whole bunch of new connector devices with the cables in them that will be installed.
Are they substandard beyond that even?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Were they ever built to spec?
Not to my
Not to your knowledge.
were they ever built a
They
spec.
were never built the original spec.
No, someone forgot something at the plant, is my opinion. But we couldn't get anyone to admit to that. But anyway, we're getting them repaired at no cost to us. Item number 4, remember we used to get something called a community development block grant, and every year about this time, the county would tell us, well, you've got $34,000, what do you want to do? And we go through and we have projects. Last year, the project we did was paving Irvingwood Drive between the railroad tracks and Thornwood Drive. Also last year, we were informed that the city would not be receiving specific money from this program anymore. Only the smaller villages within the county would get that. And if there was any residual money left over after they got money for their projects, we might be able to use it for something. But that's kind of impossible because you have to submit a project request to them with a certain amount. Let's say that we want to do a project for $40,000 and they only had $500 left. And we'd have to pay them $35,500. So it's not a good idea to participate in this anymore. The reason I'm bringing it up is they have invited us to participate again this year. And I've talked it over with the mayor, we both agreed, nah, it's probably not a good idea because it would end up costing us a lot of money. So just bringing you up to date on that too. It's a shame because that was a very good program. We were able to do a lot in the city over the years with it, but the federal money is just drying up.
John, is there a minimum you could do a project for? I mean, you submit a $1,000 or $2,000-$3,000 project, hoping that there might be $3,000 or $4,000 left over. Or
anything is a guess on our part. If the county has $350,000, which I think is the amount that they're going to distribute to the villages and everything like that, they may not have anything left over, or they may have X amount left over. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Because even the villages have not submitted their request to the county yet. So by the time they submit to the request of the county does all its tabulation and say, well, there's $5,000 left. It's too late for us to do it, so we can't respond. The logistics aren't there to help us.
It's a crapshoot.
It is, yeah. So you know, that's just the way it is, we just fall into that category. And we've been hit with a lot of those things over the past couple of years, whether it's the inheritance tax, or this, or the debate over income tax, you know, from companies for profits and nonprofit years and everything. We're just getting skewered
We
by
just
the
generate
state.
a lot of tax in this town. We don't
We don't need it.
receive much back.
Yeah, we don't need it. So, any questions? Item number 5 is some good news. The county engineer and LCATs have stumbled across a potential state program. It's not official yet, but it might be, where the state is looking at increasing the permissive license plate tax by another $5, which means we might be able to, if you wanted to, capture another $5 off of that. It's not been done yet, it's just being discussed right now. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Right now, it's 10
Right now it's 15.
or 15, we can raise
Right.
it to 20.
Right.
Okay.
If you want to. I mean, the question is, how much can your citizens absorb, you know, but it's there. It might be there in the future. So an additional $5 apparently is being considered, but it's only at a discussion stage right now. It's not determined that that will be the case or anything like that.
The city would have first dibs on it before the county would grab it.
I believe so. I don't know the details. All right. Item number 6. For several months, we've been trying to repair a damaged detention pond in Willow Ridge. And AEP is part of the correction to that, since they're the one that actually damaged it. We have been able to get an agreement from a property owner to use his property to transport the material to the site. AEP has agreed to help us. However, the weather has been working against us. It's just, the ground is too soft. So our street department actually laid down some stone between a road and where the material is supposed to be delivered, and they actually got the material delivered. Now we're waiting for AEP to come in and do the construction part of the program. So we're getting close to having that detention pond in. I've stressed to AEP that we do need to get it in soon, because we'll probably get a lot of rain this spring, and the person that's below the pond gets damaged if the pond isn't there. His property gets damaged, and we need to get it fixed. So hopefully that will be done soon. It's in their hands. We don't have any control over it, so it scares me a little. But we've done our part, everything we can. Any questions on that? Item number 7. We received a request from Mr. Blackledge in January, I think, or February, I'm not sure when. Okay, to consider establishing hours for waste collection, and he provided information from the village of Granville in regard to that. I reviewed the information and sent you an email with a summary of it, and I didn't know if you wish to do anything. I have a copy of that if you need it.
Summary, I didn't get that.
My biggest concern was the time they're picking up at 5 in the morning. That's what I wanted to get stopped.
Well, okay, I have a summary here too.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went through the whole thing and looked at it. Or
I don't
maybe
think I got a copy of this.
maybe you just pass that around.
Black, can I ask you, how many people live on this street?
Individual wise, if you have house wise, maybe all the way around the bend, you're 40, 50 houses.
Where do you live, Keith?
Indian Head,
I mean,
right next to the Ramages. Right next to Ramages.
you live next to Ramage?
I know, I put up with
2 houses down from Little Scott.
it. Yep,
You
there's
poor
another
guy.
one. I keep them old guys inside the house as much as I can.
Anyway, I did review it, and the village has one waste collector, and they negotiate a contract with that waste collector via the bidding process. And in Granville, generally, waste is picked up 1 day a week between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. And that day is not negotiable. If they agree on a Monday, then the waste is picked up on a Monday. There is a part of the agreement where if they wanted to, they could divide the village into 2 portions and collect on 2 days, but no more than that. And they do not collect on Saturdays or Sundays or holidays unless they have approval from the village. And I got a bunch of additional information there if you want to look at that sometime. But I think in regard to Mr. Black legislation situation, that's a brief summary. Keith, I don't know if you want to say anything else in regard to that.
My thing is just, it's hard for, and I understand that Christmas is one thing, I can give up a week and be okay with it, but every Monday morning, the trash stops in front of my house, 5 o'clock in the morning, wakes up my 2 babies, 3 and 5-year-old, wakes up my wife, it wakes up me because I get to bed at about 3 or 4 in the morning too, because I work night shift. It makes a long day for my entire family. It stops right in front of my house because that's where all the bins are. You hear the brakes, you hear the beeping, you hear the ram slamming, banging, throwing the trash cans back. And I know that's, our areas are smaller houses, we're kind of closer together. It's not a Willow Ridge kind of house. It's a smaller house, but that, the noise does, it's very loud, wakes them up, makes for a long day. They're up for the day at that point. They don't go back to sleep, the kids, they're just up. I just think pushing it to like 8 o'clock in the morning in the residential area, to me, it's not that big of a problem with commercial if they want to start early. But residential, I think there's no reason why they need to be in there before 8 a.m.
The village's ordinance is written for residential areas. In regard to commercial areas, I think they can pick up at any time. They can have any garbage collector they would like, but the residential areas are very regulated.
Sometimes they have been complained on too, and once they get complained on, then we tell them that they need to come back. Because there's been some issues with that as well, of the big steel bins banging as they throw, and they come back down, they push them back. That kind of goes through the air pretty loud, you know. So there has been some issues with that.
John, my question would be is, can we write some kind of ordinance as far as just regulating trash pickup in residential, areas that would apply to all trash pickup and not be, like this is when you get a contract with one hauler, you can tell him, here's the rules and regulations for that. But if we don't have one hauler, I mean, we've got 5, 6, 7 different ones or whatever, is there a way either through just blanket saying trash haulers and not be in conflict with anything, or can we say, do it, noise thing or start,
You can do it as a general regulation that covers all trash haulers. There's no question about that. So if you do it, it applies to Big O, Waste Management, everyone, Shackelford, everyone.
So we send notification out to all of them.
Yeah.
About 30 days notice.
Right. Now, the one thing you have to be careful of is enforcement. Who is going to enforce this is the question.
Right.
The residents.
Well, that was my next question is, once we write it, and then what would be the penalty if a trash hauler did come? We say you can't pick up, let's say before 7, and at 5 o'clock they're out in front of Keith's house again, and he calls police or somebody, and they come out, and here's a trash truck, and he's obviously picking up trash. I mean, it's pretty easy to go to. I mean,
go ahead, Keith.
I think with you disturbing the piece, that is just a cut black and white situation because you're catching them there. It's not a noise issue at that point. It's breaking a time. So it's going to be easier to charge them than it would be to say what type of noise they're making.
Yeah, in other words, if they're driving through the residence picking up trash, it's pretty easy for someone to see, hey, they're picking up trash, as opposed to them saying, well, I'm just driving through to go to the mall to pick up their trash. I'm commercial, or something like that. But, you actually see it. But I guess the question would be, like you say, it's a more of a misdemeanor kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a misdemeanor.
Okay.
Well, again, enforcement is going to be the question here, because they, we're not saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You could have 4 different trash collectors that collect the same day.
Yeah.
And so, which one is going to be the one that's out there at 4:30 in the morning or something like that? You're going to have to validate that, and do the police actually have to catch them in the act? Are you going to depend on the complainant's word that it's actually them that's doing it?
Yeah.
I mean, so you want to consider those things.
Right.
So you can certainly write the ordinance. There's no question about it. The way Granville's is written, it's very easy to enforce because there's only one trash collector.
Right.
The city of Heath, it may not be so easy.
Yeah.
So you just want to consider that, and also, who's going to enforce it? Is it going to be the zoning department? Is it going to be the police department? Why not the parks department? They're not here.
Are you volunteering?
No, not. So,
It'd be easier probably for police because they're gonna be out and about, where you guys aren't gonna be in there
We
at
only
4 in the
have two
morning.
of them on the road.
yeah, well, with the police, you can at least call them at 4:30 in the morning and say, hey, we've got these idiots out here, they're collecting trash, please come in, and they might be able to get there.
Have we considered talking to the trash haulers before we go writing ordinances and complaints on?
You know, that'd be the next thing, yeah, that, I mean, that's what we,
I talked to them the night that it happened, one of the first nights
No
I called
offense,
them. I
but
ran
maybe
them
if
down.
somebody from the city calls.
You talked to the driver.
Right.
You didn't talk to the people in the
Oh,
company.
okay, yeah, but I did talk to
Because
them.
originally, when you talked about it, you said that they were out there at 3:30 in the morning.
No, I said 5. Now, Christmas, they get out earlier than that. They can be out at 4.
I called,
That's what
I
we
called
said.
them and told them that you said it was out there at 3:30 in the morning.
No, what we called and found out through Lieutenant Mason and I, that we called their company and their policy states that they can go out at 4 in the morning. That's what their policy states. He was out in my house at 5 in the morning. Maybe that's where we got misconstrued in the 3:30 call.
The policy from the company
Yes,
is that
it's
they
4
can
in
ride
the
at
morning.
4?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they can start at 4 in the morning.
What I'm struggling with is, looking at a business model, I'm trying to figure out, if we say they can no longer pick up between 5 and 8, when do those 3 hours happen? Because we're still gonna have the same number of customers. And so then on the other end of it, are they out there at 9 o'clock at night when the babies are in bed, or my husband's in bed? Because,
Exactly.
and I'm up at 5, they pick mine up at 5, and I'm okay with that. But I understand your scenario that it's not, but I think that, I think talking to them would be good before we go writing legislation, because we need to know how they're gonna make this happen and what's reasonable, because, maybe it's 7, maybe it's not 8, because, that 3 hours, I don't know how they'd make that up, I really don't,
There are threats they'll give you.
AM to 8 p.m.
yeah, but I mean, it's like he's saying, if we didn't wanna start it till 8 AM, he's like, that's what his suggestion was, I said, that's 3 hours in the
Yeah.
morning, they've gotta make up, and there's not that much commercial, but
7 is better than 5. You know what I mean?
But I would like to hear what the trash haulers have to say, what is reasonable for them, because it's not like Granville where you have one and you kind of write that contract and they're willing to work around you
Yeah.
because they can go every place else whenever they want. We've got a lot of different companies coming
I
across.
think that that's what needs to be done. I don't know what company it was.
Waste management.
Okay, Waste Management.
Yeah, that's who I have.
Waste
They come
Management
around.
is a giant, conglomeration, and I do believe that, they try to work with people. I know that I called Waste Management and didn't even know it, but told them I was a senior citizen, and I've been with them for years, and the next thing I know, my price dropped considerably. And I pay it once a year, and it's a great thing. So, some of the other smaller companies, maybe they couldn't do something like that. Waste Management can. This is all I'm trying to
Comes
say.
in between 3 and 5 in my house.
Pardon?
Shackleport's comes up my street between 3 and 5 in the morning.
3 and 5 AM.
in the morning?
That's
Have we checked with other communities that don't have single hauler contracts to see what they have for
All I've done is explore with Bramble House.
just putting?
But I'm thinking this could be a major change for these companies, and I think that we should get some input before we go legislating change, because, they've got people that are already scheduled to work certain hours, and, you can't just make that happen overnight, we can't just tell the city of Newark, we're gonna start working for 3 AM to whatever. So I think we need to get the information.
As I said, it works well with one company. And I think Granville has done an excellent job structuring the ordinance and working with the company to get it done. They've done a very good job. It will be a lot more difficult if you try to, because with other companies, if you just ask them, please be nice to us and do this, forget it, it's not going to work.
And I'd just like to say this too. You're talking about noise and everything like that. We have a snowstorm that hits at 2 o'clock in the morning. Our trucks are out there and those plows are down and they're making lots of noise.
They're
So,
going by
you know,
fast.
they go
not
by
going
fast,
by
I know that,
stopping
I know that, but I'm
ramming
just saying that
trash
there's
cans.
a lot of noise created by those guys trying to keep our streets clean, and that's just, you know, one thing that,
Well, ever since you started talking about it, I've been paying attention to it. Waste management, run people. They sound like demolition experts. I'll tell you,
yeah.
It sound like what?
demolition experts, they are.
They throw the trash cans. I mean, they don't mess around.
And they'll get that thing in the truck, and it was shaking my house the other day, waste management.
They put them up in there and they,
You know what you can
two or
do?
three times.
If I can make a suggestion here, you might not like this, but I think it'll work very well. What if we scheduled a public hearing and invited all the waste haulers to attend? Say, the city is looking at adjusting the times that you can work in the city. Have a public meeting like that, giving you the opportunity to ask them questions and then the opportunity to respond. That will give you a good starting place.
That's a good suggestion. I'd come back for Monday night again, if it was.
Yeah.
Monday's one of
You
those.
said what I was thinking, so
Yeah.
I would support it.
I think that's a good idea. That's- Before we go to try and regulate and go to one more, I'm not,
Yeah,
I got a question. Has anybody heard anybody else have a problem?
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I mean, no offense, but do we wanna have a public hearing on one complaint?
That's just a solution as far as.
Well, I think we need to talk to Waste Management, first of all, and see if we can solve the problem that way.
But I think if you talk to him, you'll have to talk to Shackleford also.
What's that?
I think if you talk, because we've got 20 houses on our street, and there's 5 companies comes in there. 5.
Yep.
And I'd rather talk with all of them, because it's a pain for me too, because they're destroying the streets. The streets gets broken up on our street, and that's, only time they do it is our street trucks, you know, and they're not all that heavy when they go to just doing it in the truck, you know. I don't think they would affect the trucks.
Well, that's a question you have to answer. What's the magnitude of the problem? And number two, you do need to get feedback from the haulers. You know,
Same time, you might pose the question for the second half of your email. See what the community thinks about a single hauler.
You could you could select a night and have a public hearing on it. I don't think it's something you can do in half an hour either. Because if you want the public there, if you want the haulers there, it could be a good hour and a half. Do it fairly.
Why don't we, talk with the mayor, maybe you and the mayor and John can come up with something.
Yeah, I don't know don't know what the mayor's feelings are on it. Seems like we're kind of split as council feelings on it. So.
Yeah, and I mean,
You know, it's kind of,
it's up to you guys. You tell me how you'd like to do it, and I can take them.
One more good thing on the bottom part of your email, that you said recycling pickup. Recycling has improved 65% in the village of Granville alone in recycling with curbside pickup. Think what that would do for the city of Heath well, instead of having those big trash bins out there. And then having all your residents go out there and pick it up. They'd be picking it up for you for free. That's another plus in mind that I would see as well.
That's what I have in the back of my mind, is one haulers for the recycling.
This isn't something that you have to make a decision on today as far as what we do. I mean, there's a lot here. There are consequences to doing this, and maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's not, look at all the consequences and the benefits and weigh and see. We might also be able to put something on water bills. do you have a problem with, the time waste is collected in the city, you know, contact this number or something, or, you know, do a survey, or there are a number of ways we can approach this.
Some people sleep like logs, some people sleep, it's like, you know, like sleepers, and, you know.
Well, if you
just
get
don't
home
do
at
things
3 in the
that-
morning, you know, it's nothing.
Yeah, we don't.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I'll get back to you.
Thank you for just listening to me. All I have to say.
Because I think that we could do anything, to improve recycling. We will help our kids that's coming up behind us. Trash hauling.
I think I've heard, I'm pretty sure Grant or Hanover, I think, is doing a one hauler deal too. So I don't
Say that again.
Hanover?
Hanover
The
is
city
doing,
of Hanover is doing a single.
there's a lot of municipalities in the state of Ohio going that direction, if not already there. I would even do the back research on that to try to
All up
find out.
around Akron, I mean, up around Cleveland area, and Akron, they're that way. The ones that don't have municipal, I know Cleveland suburbs, you know, where my daughter lives, they live in Strongsville, they have municipal pickup. But in Akron, the nephew, he told me the other day that they have one hauler, and I never did, I think he would ever say it, but he says it's beautiful.
That's one opinion.
Ken,
I'm not in
do you,
favor of it.
are you gonna mention any of this in your article?
Probably not tomorrow, but something I'll probably follow up on.
Okay, I was just, if Kent were to do something, you know, that would get the word out, whatever, and get
I
feedback
think
as we
it
go.
might be something I'll follow up on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Time-wise, I can get from
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on that? If not, item number 8, Becky Goodwin approached me. Becky, you're on.
Oh, I'm
And she had a question in regard to farmers markets within the city, another Granville thing. Thanks a lot. Anyway, Becky. Anyway, I invited Becky to take a few minutes to explain what you wanted to discuss.
You guys know me, I'm all about community events and so forth, so I just wanted to kind of put something out on the table, see if there's any interest, feelings against, for, whatever. But I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've spoken with a couple of Heath residents I met with, and people are interested in a farmer's market here in our city. So I'm just curious if it's a big deal, bad deal, wrong thing to ask. I do have some ideas that I'd like to present if it's something that you guys would feel open to letting me do at some point. I figure the way these are set up, the one in Granville is run by the Chamber of Commerce. I did research on that one, so. The other gentleman's looking into the one that goes on at Newark, and I think Newark is by, is it by Chamber too? I wasn't sure if it was Newark Downtown Association.
I know Vicki Christ is very actively involved in it, so
Okay.
I'm assuming it's the chamber.
Okay. And basically somebody from there runs it and charges the fee and takes care of it and does the advertising and so forth. So I'm assuming that's something that has to kind of be put together so that it can take off. But I was hoping that it could be kind of more of a community event from the city with somebody benefiting or a group benefiting from it, or maybe multiple groups benefiting from it. I'm not sure. But so again, I'm just putting it out on the table. I've got a few people interested, and I think it's something that can go bigger. However, I feel it's more about the farm market, vegetables, fruits, things you grow and or make, but not resold items from the store. That's what I'm trying to stay away from.
How does that
Where's your
work? You mean,
funds at?
this group sets it up, and then they don't say, hey, you bring tomatoes, you bring cabbage?
No.
The way Granville does it, they have a list that you fill out, and I think they have a master person that looks at this and kind of goes over what the items that you might be selling at your particular location, whether it be fruits, vegetables, cheeses, or something you've baked or whatever. But nothing would be baked or cooked on site. It would just be stuff that is produced and ready for sale. Granville's is done on Saturday mornings at the opening there at Denison, and the whole street is blocked off. And people just park, they open the rear of their van, put a tent up, table, whatever they concoct to put together to bring their supply in. They have entertainment, somebody might be playing music, somebody might be singing, somebody might be handing out samples. We thought of things like having the Boy Scout troop come in and help us clean up at the end of the event. Things like that. So we're thinking community service people, community ways for the kids to earn badges or do community service or whatnot. I have one place in mind that I was thinking, and I think Saturday's our best deal because of the shopping, eventing on Saturday is probably the best for here. And my feeling is back here by the pool in the parking lot early morning Saturday before the pool opens. So we wouldn't interfere with the pool, but we could be on this back side against the lawn. And you know who can advertise it, so that's not a problem. But anyway, just kind of looking for your feelings on it, if it's something that maybe I could get some more information or need more information.
My feeling is, I think it's a good idea, but your location I'm not real in favor of.
Swimming lessons.
Because they start early in the morning with doing some things too.
9:30 swimming lessons.
Yeah, I
What's
under,
that?
9:30 swimming lessons in the morning.
Sounds like a man of experience.
Yep, kids.
well, I know at 11 o'clock I think they do water walking and stuff like that, but I don't think the whole parking lot would really get used. And I guess what I could show you more, I could pull up the layout and so forth and show you more of what I meant, but I was talking this first lane that's up against this grass, just as you turn right in there. And it'd be probably more towards the salt tank, that area, and closer to the bike trail, and just that first and second lane there. But I don't know that we'd get that many. That would only take, I figured up 26 spots. You could come up with possibly if it were to get that big, but so. But I could show, I didn't print it out or lay it out or anything, but I can show that to you and see what you guys think from that too, so.
Overflow. You got to worry about a whole bunch of people coming because they come. A lot of parking. You also have to worry about trash. City pays for trash. They put out boxes for that, and they have to pick them up afterwards. We have to shut down the streets. They sell anything from candles to flowers, pies, meats, cheeses, vegetables. They sell it there.
Yeah.
And they come out for droves. I'm talking, it's ridiculous how many people come to
But
this.
don't they have furniture out there too? Or
They
is
might
that-
do like some patio furniture. Sometimes it just depends who comes and goes on who fills that out.
Yeah.
It rotates throughout the year.
Sue and I went out there one time. And it was like downtown. Did they use
It's
that?
downtown North Main Street from Broadway to College. The brick section of North Main Street is where they hold it. That's where they all is. Now, in the off season, they take it out to the Brandon and have out in that parking lot later in the year.
And maybe I was thinking something different, because it was right down.
It's
Right
always been
downtown.
North Main Street between Broadway, which is the main drag that goes down.
Okay, well,
In
they had a
College.
bunch of stuff on Broadway.
That's the
Right.
antique show you're thinking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
That's the
That's
side week
right.
antique
Antique
show.
and
Antique
art
show.
show or something.
I can tell you about everything you need to know about that.
Mr. President.
Are you looking at a one-time thing, or once a month, or every week? Or for like, how many weeks or months are you?
I
Are you
gauged
thinking?
it by what I looked up on, and we were thinking from the like June through October time, probably through September. I was looking at 17 weeks for a starter, and it's every Saturday.
I would think if you wanted vendors to come and get the most bang for the buck, I think your best location would be to try to do it at the mall in that triangle piece that no one parks in, that they're looking for the staging area for the parade. I mean, to me, that would be the logical place, because people, you got more traffic, more people. You come in, they go to the mall, you kind of feed off everything, because I mean, I've gone to other cities where I've seen them on Saturdays have the little, things set up, and there's a lot of times in outer parking lots of
Right.
a shopping area or something like that where people are going to anyway, and it's like, oh, well, I'm here, I'll get some fresh tomatoes or something else. I mean, they kind of feed off of everybody.
Would they charge them though? Do the mall? That would be my question.
I
it's a-
I don't know, but
I
I'm
did
just
have
Mall
thinking,
might
down
charge
as a
the
you
money.
sit out here,
for
you
being
might get
there.
3 people showing up because people driving by. I mean, if I'm there, but if you're going to go to the mall anywhere, you're out in that area. I mean,
Well, but what about the end of Davis Shea?
If you have a longer time that way, I have from
Davis Shea
guys
House,
up
they're
around
parking out back
Akron
in
that
there.
had them. You draw the Amish in, you
I don't know, I've
got
never been
another
back there,
waste
I'm
problem.
assuming
Yeah.
Something else that Becky and I both talked about is permits.
it's.
And Cletus, I don't know if you remember this or not, but back in the 1990s, you proposed and council passed an ordinance allowing local people who grew vegetables in their gardens to sell it. Now, normally, if you want to sell anything in the city, you have to get an itinerant vendor's permit. So now, if you're just selling vegetables and they're locally produced, you're okay. But if you get into other items like Heath was saying, or Becky was saying, then you gotta be careful, because, where do you draw the line as to whether or not you need an itinerant vendor's permit? I think the garden vegetables would
Yeah.
probably be fine, because, well, I'll dig out your ordinance that was years and years ago that covers that.
I
But-
pulled the transient ordinance thing out, because I figured that fit the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
as to what I was doing, so, but yeah, I did think of that spot too, Tim.
Yep.
I guess I was leaning towards the pool because I thought it would be it's open that time of year and you might have a little bit more traffic from that, but it would be another way to, cover the parking. And, I don't know, possibly there's swim lessons going on, mom can shop while the kids are swimming. I don't know, I was just trying to think of an easy, quick setup, quick get out of town place.
Saturdays that
I just don't think,
Bob's had to
I don't
park
think
them
the
in the
mall would
grass.
charge you.
Right. And I thought about the grassy spot between the two parking lots, but then getting people set up there, and if it happens to rain or something, you can still do it in the rain if you're in a parking lot, so. I was just trying to keep it minimal,
These people are not only going
throw up my door and put my tent up and you're ready to go, so.
There's a shine shop out here in Chicago.
I could do it in my parking lot.
While you're on the railroad down there to a farmer's. I mean,
Go over here and.
So again, there's my answer is, let's go over here to, yes, I
Right, I mean,
need
it's
good,
just building.
Okay.
So you're gonna get.
I say Garfield out
City
there.
Hall, you're not sure about, okay. Well, we can still talk about places to have it, I was just trying to find a
I think
bigger,
you ought to check
Yeah.
with about
Check.
that.
at that spot, okay.
Because I don't honestly think, I think the more traffic that the mall can see coming in there,
Yeah,
the
They
people.
can market it, they can
Well,
enhancement,
help, yeah.
help draw people in, or,
Yeah.
what's her name, Holly, the manager of the mall?
I can't remember, but I think I know who you're talking about, so.
lady,
Holly Dozer.
Holly,
Yeah.
Okay.
Give her a call and, for marketing.
what's her last name? Holly?
Dozer?
Okay,
That's it,
Yeah, I think
Phil,
that's right.
we'll think about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, John, anything else?
Keith, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
My only thing was about building codes. I know the log cabin on my house, or not my house, the log cabin on my street has a second store door that leads to nowhere. I could see that as a liability.
Insurance, is that?
Can you see a picture?
No, I mean, I'm just saying.
Well,
It's a
because he
door.
built onto it, and I guess who allowed that to happen?
That's an easy one. There was a period of time for about a year where we had building codes. We initially adopted building codes, which included, we initially had building codes that only applied to new construction for new houses and things like that. They didn't include additions. And that's when that was built. And then we adopted building codes that included additions. That was built before we adopted the current building
So
code.
it is,
Yeah, so it's grandfathered in.
We do that.
Yeah, but right now, he couldn't do that anymore, because we're under the county building code office. We have been for about 10, 11 years. But that, he
been
actually,
that long ago?
yeah, so, I can't recall exactly. But he did that,
It was that long ago.
he did that, he got that in just before we adopted the code.
Okay.
So he got a permit from
Our
us
luck,
to do it. But he got it just before we adopted the code with the county.
You know whose house that was, didn't you? That was Boyer's house. Human.
Who is
Is
it?
that-
That was Jeff Boyer's house.
Jeff Boyer, the coach?
Used to be.
Is that right?
It used to be a nice
Put
little
it on the
house.
ramp plan if you're feeling bad about.
Just takes my
Run down the
value
end
of
of
my
the ramp
house
lane,
down.
that'll enjoy you.
Yeah, that's a doozy too.
The only good news is that if they want to build a ladder or anything up there, they want to do anything else, it now has to be done with code. They can't make any modifications to it.
I know he just recently built a deck on the front.
I mean, well, you can build a deck as long as it's under 200 square feet. We actually turned him into the building code department for that. And I don't know what they did with him, but we turned him in.
He actually did a nice job on the deck.
Yeah, he did.
The house was horrendous.
What?
He did a nice job on the deck. It was a nice deck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've
But the
cleaned
house
up,
is,
yeah.
wow.
For years, that house has been a nuisance, to say the least. It's been a mess. Building materials all over the place, always something under construction. And the method of construction and the materials used were always questionable or not really visually acceptable. I mean, they got sliding doors for the front door
Right.
and stuff like that, but he's
Two
one
different
of
types of windows on the front,
yeah, it's there's no rhyme or reason
up,
to
down,
it.
left, right.
It's
Diagonally too.
when he did it, it wasn't against code, but it might not have always been the best decisions that he made in regard to the aesthetics and quality of construction.
I guess I didn't know that you had the codes down, that's why.
Yeah, we adopted them, I don't know, I can't recall when, and he got in just under the window.
And I remember
Just
I
under
talked
the
to
window.
Brian about it way back,
Uh-huh,
and then I didn't hear from him back.
yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
I've got more than a few complaints. Keith.
Julius Perry Lake.
Julius Perry looked good compared to this guy.
Back into Julius Perry's property.
You done?
Anything else?
That's all I've got, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
And Eddie Hunt isn't gonna be here for a few months, so get used to that.
Okay. Call meeting closed. 7 p.m. Back to you.
Keith, thank you for the information, appreciate
Ready
it.
for finance?
Keep going.
Or does anyone has to do finance?
Do I need 5 minutes or?
No,
How's your lunch, Doug?
Go ahead,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay.
Let's
Can we do
get
it?
with it, yeah. Let's get with
At least now I know who Ramity's been complaining about his neighbor.
it. I always thought I thought Ramey's always talking about low, now we know it's the other side.
I shovel those guys' driveways every time it snows, so I don't wanna hear about that.
Maybe just complaining. Period.
Well, here, leave
Because
it for
Brian
Friday.
drinks beer every
No,
once in a while.
he's on vacation. I think he's on a cruise.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Everybody got one, each one?
Yep.
What else, need one back here?
No, I got it.
It's pretty brief. Okay, 6:18, we'll call finance order. Coming out of Cletus's meeting just concluded, we've got the adopt a national hazardous mitigation plan.
Hey, John, is there any rush on that, or we don't have to waive it or anything like that,
Matter of
here, do
fact,
we?
hold on a second here.
Or what's the timetable on that?
I've got all that information here. It's something we don't want to, we want to move on it.
Okay.
So, let's see.
You need waive?
No, I don't think you have to waive it, but,
Because it'll be read the next meeting and then,
let's see. I think we're okay if you just, go to the regular 2 readings on it, you're fine.
First week of April, you're okay?
Let's see here, it should be, I don't actually have a date here, but I can see.
Now,
what
what
it's-
is this? What is it?
Flood control, right?
It's called an all-natural hazard mitigation plan, but for us, it's basically.
So that
flood
word
control.
national
April
should be
7th.
natural, right?
April
Natural,
7th would be
natural.
when we
Yeah,
vote.
Natural
natural.
resource.
Natural hazard mitigation plan. is the correct word for it.
Natural. Okay.
Mitigation plan?
Natural hazardous mitigation. Okay, instead of national.
Maybe you went over this in the meeting already. Have there been any changes to this plan?
Yes, they're very minor ones. I don't even remember what they are. The plan itself was put together about 10 years ago. And this is maybe the second iteration where we go through, revise it, and the revisions were always minor in nature. And we were sent those revisions months ago, and I don't remember even what they are. They're very minor.
Minor.
Negligible. I mean, it's not anything that's gonna have an impact on the city of Heath at all. Not-
So minor you can't even remember.
No, that's right.
Okay.
But that, oh, by the way, the date, each participating local community, which is us, has up to 1 year from November 26th, 2013 to adopt the plan. So I mean, we've got till November actually, but.
All right, so just let
Get
it
it
run
done.
through.
Yeah, there's no rush.
Committee members, you got any other issues? Okay. And that's all we have. Becky, do you have anything else? Is the mayor gonna be here?
Yeah, for the meeting. I'll be here for the meeting.
Okay. So I need to call an executive session for personnel now, or?
I would say, do you know what it's about?
I have no clue, that's
Well,
why.
I would say don't call one then.
That's why I'm like.
Let's just wait, we either when we get to caucus if he shows up, or if we get to some other time.
You know,
I would say,
but you know that's what it's about.
Since the mayor's not here, and I'm guessing he's gonna have a key piece in this.
so I'd say we don't wanna do one.
Well, I'm sure it's probably about 100% pay increase for department heads.
In that case, we will table it. Anything else for finance?
No,
I tried, okay.
I know that, yeah.
Anything else?
But that- no.
What?
I know what it's about. I know what it's about.
Do you wanna,
But it's something we wait for the mayor on, is that what you're saying?
you don't wanna lead the discussion?
No, I think really we should wait for the mayor to be a part of it.
I concur.
Okay.
I do know what it's
If we
about.
need to do one after council, we can
Yeah.
Do it.
get his blessing.
But I
at
think
that
you
point.
probably will have an executive session after council.
Tonight.
I believe so.
Okay. We'll let him, confirm that. Anything else for finance then in this case? Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you for your
Caucus
time.
like at 7 or something like that.
Thanks for your,
So you got 40 minutes. So actually, Becky, if you wanna go, you can go now. You don't even have to stay. You don't have to stay any longer.
You have to get that.
You're free.
Yeah, unless you wanna hang out with us.
Yeah, Limity on it. Yeah, she's.
We just wanna be like Nick back here and be a glutton for punishment. Stay.
Little kids chit-chatting about the
you gonna talk about 15 or?
Yeah,
Glad to see you.
since I was saying if the mayor showed up, we could, if we had to do something, we could get it in between it. But 7:15. Caucus at 7:15.
Not during the week.
7:15.
Take a 55-minute break.
Oh, he's like.
7:15.